Okay, cool. All right, you guys, welcome to our Body Electric weekly webinar. It is the 1st of August. It's technically, I guess, August 2nd, but we're in the very early stages of the month of August, which is Team Cup month. So tonight we're keeping things super casual, just kind of opening this forum back up for weekly dialogue and training. A lot of you guys who are veteran coaches know that we meet every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. In the summer, it gets a little bit dicey with travel schedules and summits and all kinds of stuff. So the summer tends to be inconsistent, but we are back. It's August, right? It's back to school time, which means we're back to consistency and routine with our team as well. So I just wanted to go over a few things because there's a lot going on right now. And I wanted to make sure that we are all on the same page, and then I can open it up for any questions you have. I'm willing to answer logistic questions if you have questions about Team Cup, or I'm happy to answer personal questions if you're wanting to know where do you place your next coach or whatever. Like if you have a personal coaching question, I'm happy to answer that too. So first things first, those of you guys who were not at Summit, we had an awesome time. We had about 20 coaches from Summit, from Body Electric attend Summit in New Orleans. I know that all of you guys have your ticket for Indianapolis next summer. It's going to be amazing. For a lot of us, it's super close, or we have family here in Indiana. So it's going to be an awesome, awesome, awesome time. So Chris and I are already looking into, we have a pretty solid plan for Summit as far as a team gathering, a team party. So when it's in Indianapolis, you have to do something for your team, right? When you're from here. So once we have the logistics for that, I will share it with you, but you have to have your ticket first. So if you haven't registered for Summit, it's just coachsummit.com. At this past Summit, they announced a lot of stuff. And instead of diving into each of those things, you guys can check them out in the Coach Breaking News. A couple of the big ones, Daily Sunshine, which I'm not sure if you guys have seen the FAQ, but they are awarding Success Club points for Daily Sunshine in the month of August. If it's an HD order. So Daily Sunshine is marketed to kids, but it is consumable by adults as well. And it's intended to be sort of like a kid version of Shakeology. So less ingredients, much more simplified, but a daily dose of dense nutrition in some form. So I've been having mine every day. I like the chocolate. I've been having it every afternoon as a snack because I used to be really bad at like the 4 o'clock in the afternoon time frame. I used to just want to snack on something, and the Daily Sunshine is a great replacement. So if you haven't tried it, check it out. But that's going to be a really great way to get people. You know what's interesting? I feel like people are more willing to invest in their children and their children's nutrition than they are in themselves. So I think for a lot of people, it'll be a good start or a good on-ramp to just what we do in general, right? If they see the Daily Sunshine, they get their kids on board with it, and then eventually that morphs into Beachbody On Demand and Shakeology too. So I love the theme that was sort of central to Summit, which was to bring fitness and health into the home. And I think that that was a really powerful message and a consistent message from Carl through Summit this year. He showed a really cool Google Earth photo up on the screen of just a bunch of houses, you know, like the aerial view, the rooftops. And he talked about how every home should have access to Beachbody On Demand. They should have access to fitness in their own home. And I think that that's a really powerful vision that he's sharing. But I think it's super important that we buy into that vision, because I'm lucky enough to have bought into his vision 7 years ago when Shakeology was just released and we only had greenberry and chocolate. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buy into this guy's opinion. Like, this is going to be awesome, right? And deep down, I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what's going on. This guy knows where we're going. He understands the market for health and fitness. He knows how we can really make a difference. And I truly do believe that if he thinks that coach is going to be a household name, just like doctor or lawyer, I truly think that that's going to come true if he's going to work hard to make it happen. So that's where our role comes into play. So if you haven't seen those announcements from Summit, take some time to check out the Coach Breaking News. But one of the major things that come out of Summit, of course, was the Shift Shop program. I think most of the people that are on here live, and probably if you're tuning into this recorded, maybe you're doing Shift Shop right now. Maybe you're doing the challenge group that we have running right now. I don't know about you guys, but I have to make myself check into the challenge group like 3 times a day because there's so many posts and so much action in there. So I feel like we've got good energy with that. Now, there's one thing I did want to say, since I do have you right now And we are like, I guess technically halfway through the 3 weeks of Shift Shop. This last week that's coming up, so next week, we increase up to the 45-minute workouts, speed 45 and strength 45. I hope that you're feeling, at this point, I hope you're feeling very in tune with your challengers. And if you're not, if you don't know how they're doing, or you don't know if they're struggling, or you're wondering why they're not checking in, now would be a really great time to check in with them, because now it's really important to kind of encourage them and build their morale, because it's going to get real hard next week. And so what I don't want to happen is I don't want them to sort of drift this week, and then when they press play on Monday, just totally give up, because speed 45 is the hardest workout I have ever done in the Beachbody library. And I have done every program except size and country heat. And no offense to those programs, but I don't think any of them compare to speed 45 or Insanity Asylum. So prepare your challengers now, right? I'm going to be doing a post in the group. I already have it scheduled to kind of mentally prepare people for the workouts. But it's important that you be, as their coach, that you be checking in with them individually, see how they're doing, where they're struggling. I think it's a great program for everyone. I think it's, I've formed a friend in the test group who is over 400 pounds. And she's still, she followed the test group to a T. She's still pressing play on her Shift Shop every single day. And she's seeing amazing results. And she can't do, right, a jumping style burpee with jump knee tuck craziness, but she's doing what she can do, and she's working up a sweat, and she's seeing results, and she's sticking to that nutrition plan. So I had someone message me yesterday, and this is sort of a coaching lesson I can share with you. This person was a referral to me, customer, from a couple months ago. And she's been sort of like, how you can kind of sometimes notice like when people really want to take it like extra slow, which is totally fine by me. But she just has been doing a lot of like PiYo workouts and like Tai Chi and very beginner workouts. And I know I know her well enough to know that she doesn't have any physical injuries that are keeping her from doing something like Shift Shop. So I asked her originally if she wanted to be in the Shift Shop challenge group. She said yes. She started with the group, and then all of a sudden I stopped seeing her check-ins. So I checked in with her, and she reached back out to me and said, well, I feel like everybody in the group and the workouts themselves are just much more athletic than I am, right? So this is a lesson to you that if you have people who are not checking in, or if they're not as enthusiastic about it as you are, or as you think they should be, they could just be struggling a little bit with transition. So I heard a podcast recently that talked about nobody who ever became great at something was amazing at it the first time they did it, right? So you guys probably experienced that this week with Speed 35. Like, I don't know about your footwork, but when I did it the first time, I was like, yeah, so I am not cut out for this. And especially doing it next to my husband, who was a college athlete, who was like that's how his feet were going like that. And I was like, oh yeah, there's no way I can do this, right? But I stuck with it, and I took it slower, and now I've worked up the ability to be able to do it normally. Maybe not amazing, but normally. So, but we've got to be in touch with our people, because here's where I'm getting at with this. With what we do as coaches, we're working with people virtually. We're like their virtual trainer, right? Or their virtual accountability partner. We, unfortunately, are not in their living room. So we don't know when they're struggling. We don't know what they're struggling with. We don't know if they're struggling, mentally, if they're struggling with comparison, or if they're struggling with whatever. So it's not to say that we need to know that, but we just have to be aware and be the person that can be an open book to them. Like, just be there for them, make sure that they know that this is going to get harder. And the bottom line is, we're meant to do hard things. We're meant to do hard things. So I love that Beachbody's coming out with hard programs. We've got this, what's the name of the SAGI? It's like a week of hard labor. They're really going for some pretty intense names here, right? Like, I don't know what else they could come up with that sounds harder than a week of hard labor. But I think that they're on the right track, because I think that we have to kind of push people a little bit and have them do things that are outside their comfort zone, and to do those hard things. I remember when I started, all these people that I met who had done P90X, right? And I was like, what? You did P90X? Like, no athletic background, nothing, but they saw amazing results from it. It's one of the main reasons why I love P90X, because anybody can do it. Shift Shop is the same way. So make sure your people stick with it. Make sure that they just commit to getting better, because nobody's good at that footwork the first time. Okay, so with Shift Shop, second thing I wanted to share is we have a group that's just now we're just now taking off, right? We're on the runway about to take off with the I'm Here to Help Facebook group. So if you have not been added to that, please reach out to your upline so that we can get you added. It's nothing high pressure. It's nothing ridiculous. We're not going to like come down on you for not doing XYZ. It's literally just a bunch of posts that I have taken from Carl Deichler from a group that I was in with him. And I'm sharing them with you guys. And I'm adding in my 2 cents and my sort of extra challenge with that each day. So right now, there have been 3 posts. We just started on Monday, and they're very, very easy to get into, right? Like we haven't really taken off with jet propulsion yet. So if you have not been added into the group, it's not too late. Ask your upline to be added. But after this week, we can't let anybody else in because things won't make sense. We're going to start talking about donuts. And I don't mean like sprinkle donuts, but there's another form of donuts we're going to be talking about. And if you come into the group late, you're not going to know what we're talking about. So we have to get going now. Okay, so a couple more things. This I'm really excited about. So today, last night officially, I guess, we finalized the plans for our Diamond Retreat for our team. So this will be our first ever Coach Diamond Retreat happening October 12th through the 15th. So this information will all be uploaded into the weekly announcements on Sunday. But the requirement to attend is that you have to be a Diamond coach. You have to be a paid Diamond coach on the team September 21st. If you are a Diamond coach on September 21st, you'll be earning a private retreat with the rest of us to South Haven, Michigan. We have a really cool little cabin, fire pit, hot tub, wineries nearby, lots of fun stuff that we're going to be doing. It's going to be work one day, relaxation for a couple days. It'll be really fun. So I want to treat everybody on the team to this if you're a Diamond coach or higher. So originally it was going to be just my personally sponsored, but we're opening it up because I think everybody should share in the love and get better. And that's what I want to do with this weekend. So we're going to have some workshops taking place. We're going to have some, like I said, it's not going to be all fun, but we have fun when we're together. So it'll be a great time. So that's going to be October 12th through the 15th. Have to be a Diamond coach on September 21st. And then Team Cup. So that's kind of what I wanted to focus on tonight, was how to prepare you guys for Team Cup. So we're 2 days into the month, right? We have 29 days to go. So if you're a new coach, just a quick overview of what Team Cup is. Team Cup is sort of like a friendly competition amongst coaches. So Beachbody Corporate puts this out every year. I think a couple times a year. I think we do it in spring too. And basically what they do is they have you form teams of 5 coaches, and it's just this friendly competition to see like how many people you can help, how many challenge packs can you get into the hands of people who need it, right? How many solutions can you provide? And at the end of the month, it's all tallied up, and there's tier prizes given to the people who complete whatever tier that they've completed. So I did see today the prizes are pretty cool. So even if you're on a Team Cup team and you achieve Success Club personally, you're getting like a sweatshirt. I think there's a couple of really cool things that they're giving out for people who achieve Success Club individually. And then if there's some things that they're giving out for people who achieve Success Club as a team. So if all 5 members achieve Success Club, which is pretty cool. So really it's just, again, it's a business accountability push. It's a way to really level up and talk to more people and kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit more. So for those of you who are participating, I have some statistics for you that was shared today by Arno Nakaha, which are pretty cool. And I share these with you because I know that right now you're super excited to be in the month of August and you're super excited to be on your Team Cup team. But I know that in a couple weeks, you're going to be like, I don't know, right? Like things get hard, the month starts happening. You might get a couple people saying no to you, and all of a sudden August isn't exciting anymore and you're looking forward to September. So before we get there, I want to just tell you that what these statistics are, because I think it's pretty powerful. So it says here that $500 is the average amount coaches earn who participate in Team Cup versus $153 earned by non-participants. So $400 more in the following month than the average person who doesn't participate in Team Cup. So I think what that shows you, and this is why I wanted to share this, is when you are pushing in Team Cup, when you're talking to more people, when you have that business accountability, you might not see amazing results today. right? But it's the effort that you're putting in today that leads to great results tomorrow. So that's an awesome statistic to show that the month after you do Team Cup, you have more potential than the average coach who did not participate. 27% of new coaches, when they competed in Team Cup, they recruited new coaches versus coaches who did not participate. So again, upping your game, leveling up your knowledge with with Beachbody just by participating in a Team Cup. And then last but not least, active new coaches who participated in it in 2016 earned 3 times as much volume the following month as coaches who did not. So, I mean, I shouldn't have to say it, but basically, you know, you should be on a Team Cup team. And I know that a lot of you guys, the faces that I'm seeing right now that are on live, I know you are, and I know that you're all in right now because we're early in the month of August. I want you to stay that way for the next 29 days. I want the entire month of August to just be all in effort, all the way down until midnight on August 31st, because I know that you can literally do way more than you think you're capable of doing. So what I want to do is I want to prepare you for what you should be doing in the month of August, right? Because a lot of you are like, yeah, I'm on a Team Cup team. It's like dodgeball. Now what, right? Like we got to hit the team with the ball. Like that's all I know. So let's talk a little bit of strategy about how we can make this month super awesome. So number one is if we think about the vital behaviors, right? I don't want you to let any of your vital behaviors slip. So all 4 vital behaviors should still be happening, right? You should still be getting in your workout, your shake, you're reading your personal development, the recognition aspect of things. What we can improve on though, what we can really level up for the month of August is our invitations. So what that looks like is number 1, public invitations. Public invitations. So that means on your Facebook page or whatever social media that you're using, maybe in an email blast if you're using email campaigns, doing public invitations. Here's what I mean by that. A lot of coaches are super comfortable day in and day out sharing their Shakeology, sharing what's on their plate, sharing their sweaty selfie, sharing a picture of their kid holding their daily sunshine, right? Like those types of things are really comfortable for a lot of coaches. But the people following them might not have any idea that they are able to join them. They might not have any idea that you run a challenge group. They might just think that you're just a freak about Shakeology, right? They have no idea that you're wanting to get them on board too. So every once in a while, every blue moon, we have to step out and say, I want to publicly invite you to my challenge group, right? Like this is what I'm doing. This is what a group is. Let me explain it to you. I just made a invite post yesterday. And if you want to check it out, it's on my personal page. But when I do it, I try to keep it super subtle. So I don't always have a start date listed, especially early on in the month. It's more about just an open invitation. And then as the month goes on, I include a deadline. It sort of funnels down to where I'm like, last call, right, by the end of the month. So, but if you're not posting those public invitations and you're not like exposing to the world that they can also do what you do, or they can join what you have to offer, then there's no point in sharing your shake every day, honestly. Like no one really cares about your shake unless they know that it can help them too. So be okay with making those public invitations on your social media. And my advice to you is to have a plan now. So I already personally feel like every month, not just Team Cup month, you should be making an invitation twice a week. There should be a public invitation on your social media at least twice a week. But I think for Team Cup month, you could even increase that to 3 times a week. So maybe you post 1 in the evening, 1 in the early morning, 1 in the afternoon. Play with different times of day. Play with different images. Don't post the same thing 3 times. Like, kind of play with some different things and share that way. The other thing that I will tell you is when it comes to that same sort of thing with invitations is if you want to know the best way to invite someone without even asking the question or saying, join me, with this business, the best way to do that is with a transformation story. A transformation story. So whether that's it could be a before and after, it could be like a physical before and after of what your body looks like on day 14 of the Shift Shop or whatever, or it could be a mental transformation. It could be a confidence boost that you've seen since you started. It could be how your diet has changed, your nutrition has changed, how your energy has changed. It could be just about the people that you've met. It could be about the positivity. It could be about the personal growth. hopefully you're seeing transformation in your life in more ways than just your abs, right? And that's what I think you should be exposing on your social media once a week. So my success partner encourages her team to post every Tuesday a transformation story. So it's Transformation Tuesday every Tuesday. So when she's planning out her calendar for the month, she knows that every Tuesday night she's going to be making a post about a transformation that she's had, right? You don't have just one, you have multiple transformations. So number one, publicly inviting 2 to 3 times a week. Number two, sharing your transformation once a week. And honestly, a lot of times you don't even have to include that transformation as an invitation. It could just be your transformation. I think people see that a lot of times and then they want to reach out and ask about it. So it's sort of a subtle way of sharing. Okay, hang on one second. Okay, so number 3, of course, is having those conversations with people behind the scenes, whether it's in person, whether it's through your Facebook Messenger, whether it's through text or email. But we can make public posts all day long, but unless we're having conversations with people, it might not get us anywhere. So there needs to be a good balance between the public invitation and the private message. So I have this person on my Facebook who's been a Facebook friend of mine for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And her now husband is also my Facebook friend. We went to high school together. And the two of them are like really into like bodybuilding and nutrition and meal prepping and all that stuff. And so, slowly but surely over the past few years, like I always comment and like her stuff about meal prepping and she always comments on mine. And Chris and I were having a conversation recently and he said something about something he had seen on her Facebook page. And I said, yeah, it's interesting. Like, I mean, we talk all the time. Like, I mean, we have similar interests, right? She's really already into health and fitness. And I've never asked her to be a coach. Like I've never asked her if she's interested in my challenge group. I've never asked her if she wanted to be on our team. Like never crossed my mind, right? Like it's more about like, oh, we have all these common interests. So I got up the nerve to ask her a couple weeks ago if she would be interested in hearing more about our team and about coaching. And it was one of those like total out on a limb. Like she could have just been like, what? No, heck no. I mean, she could have totally shot me down. And she was like, I'm so glad you said something because her words were, I've been stalking you for a while, which I don't think she's actually stalking me, but I think she means stalking my Facebook page. But she's like, I've been stalking you for a while and I've been thinking about it, but I had no idea if it would be something that was right for me. And why do I share this with you? Because I think a lot of people are thinking that. It's up to us to find those people who are thinking that. And along the way, we're going to find people who are like, me? No way. And that's okay. And you can move on and be like, okay, well, I just wanted to let you know that option exists. And I think you'd be great. And I just want to open the door to that for the future, right? You can keep it really casual, really simple. It doesn't have to be something that you're like peeing your pants about. It can be something that you're super chill about. You're just opening the door. But I think, in my case, every time I've stepped out of my comfort zone and just said, hey, it seems like we have a lot in common. It seems like I really would like for you to be in my inner circle, or I'd really like to be able to get to know you better. I think you'd make a great coach on my team. Or maybe it's someone who you've seen on social media that you're like, I really think you might like this new fitness program. Seems like you're really into athletic training at your gym. I wondered if you've ever considered doing some training at home as well, right? It doesn't have to be with coaching. It can be with customers also. But I'm encouraging you for the month of August especially to be okay with stepping outside of your comfort zone and reaching out to those people and just simply asking. Like if you do it in a way that doesn't feel icky to you, I assure you it won't feel icky to them. So if you say something like, I love your posts, I love following you, have you ever considered? No one is going to like call the FBI and have someone come into your house. Like it's not scary. It's not that scary. It's a normal conversation that happens between people. So for those of you, some of you I shared this with today, but there's a podcast that I listen to called Your Virtual Upline. And it's a network marketing podcast. And his newest podcast today was called Social Media Recruiting. And it was all about how to have conversations with people on social media. I would definitely check that out if you feel like that's an area of weakness for you. So that's just a few things that I wanted to cover for you. That's kind of what we're looking at for Team Cup Month, is just to sort of elevate what we're doing, right? To stay committed to our vital behaviors, but to invite even more, and to just be more transparent on our social media, not just share our personal journey, but also invite people to start their own, right? That's why we do what we do. We don't just do what we do to show people that our shake tastes good and what we put in our shake every day. We're doing it because we want other people to realize that they can see benefits from that too. So be thinking about how you're going to go about inviting people this month. Maybe craft a plan, like an overall social media calendar of posts that you're going to put out there. And don't be afraid to have those private conversations that typically lead to more questions and more conversations. So, okay, so I wanted to make sure that I opened it up to you guys for any questions that you might have. It can be about anything that we've talked about, or it could be, I don't know, it could be about anything in general. So I'm open. I'm an open book. I'm here to answer your questions if anybody has any. While we wait for questions, though, I will tell you that in the last 3 days, my 10-month-old is now acting like a 10-year-old. Yeah. So this is what we do now when I say it's time to go night-night. That's the face I get. And tonight, she didn't want to put her pants on. So we screamed and cried and laughed, and then screamed and cried and laughed because we didn't want pants. And then, yeah, there's all kinds of things. So today, oh yeah, the other thing she started doing today was she's pointing, and she goes, "Dad." And I think she's saying, like, "What's that?" Like, "What's that? What's that? What's that?" And so all day I was fan, light, dog, mommy, fan, light, dog, mommy. And so then tonight I was reading Goodnight Moon, and I have it memorized. I know you guys do too. And I was like, "Good night, light," and the red balloon. And she went, because I said light. It's hilarious. So anyway, so just a little transition, but I don't know what to do with her. We can't get her, like, all of a sudden she went from sleeping 12 hours a night, and then all of a sudden in the last like 3 nights, she like wakes up at 4 a.m. and wants to party. Like, she starts singing in her crib and like she stands up in her crib and throws all of her passies out of the crib. So all of them, on the monitor, all you hear is just like passies hitting the wall.
So does Daily Sunshine have caffeine in it?
I know, no, not yet. She's not even a year old, so we're not even supposed to give her anything besides her formula right now. But tonight I went to give her bottle for bedtime, and she didn't want it. So I have a feeling that means she's going to be up in the middle of the night again. But she's to work.
On the Daily Sunshine, did they have ages? Like, that's for ages X to X?
Yeah, the way they're promoting it is ages 4 and up.
Up to any adult level? Yeah,
I mean, I'm drinking it every day. I'm not drinking it. I mean, I don't think it's intended to be a meal for anyone. It's just more like a snack, a nutritional snack. So I've been having it every afternoon. I know they said that Isabel, Carl's wife, she's been drinking it every afternoon. I know that I've already talked to my doctor about it for Ellery, and she'll be having it as soon as she can consume other liquids. So I think it's for younger than 4. I think that people can ask their doctor, but it's just 3 main ingredients. It's pediatrician approved. The label is easy for them to figure out. It's obviously like dairy free. It's got like all the, gluten free, dairy free, organic, all those certifications. So I would have people check with their doctors, but yeah. Have you guys, those of you who have kids, do your kids like it?
My son does not.
Yeah. I've been hearing.
Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead. I've been hearing mixed reviews. It's like 50-50.
Yeah, I decided I'm going to buy a box and like have packets so that when we just like need a snack and it's like, well, you can have this or you can have nothing, I think he's just in a phase. But you're talking about your daughter. My son has been punching kids and putting them in headlock and getting fights, and I'm getting called. Horrible.
Yeah.
Parenting just always gets harder.
Right. I know.
Good luck.
I hear you.
But I do have a question that came from our group that's our Push to 100 No's.
Yes.
a few people said that they're struggling with knowing how to add more people or where to find people. And I tried leaving like 3 voice messages in the group, but has anyone else's messenger not been, like, the voice thing has not been working? Makes me so mad. You pour your heart and soul into a message and then it doesn't post. I'm like,
I know. And
Yeah,
then
I think you're just
do you
turned
have that
off.
thought too? Do you have that thought where you're like, I recorded the same message 3 times today, and after the 3rd time and it didn't go through, I was like, I don't have time to type this out. Like, I don't, even though I took 7 minutes to try to record it. I didn't have
and I thought it was like a sign from God, like maybe I shouldn't give this advice to this one no group. But anyway,
yeah.
any advice you can give on the like just literally how are you adding people on Facebook?
Yep.
And then how in the month of Team Cup how can we turn people faster? I guess maybe that's a wrong mindset, but I had some good wake up calls this week on some of the areas where I'm messing up in coaching and not pushing. Like, I form too much and I don't go for the close, and I know we're not supposed to like always be closing because we want to help people, but at the same time, if you're never
right,
then so how can we meet new people but then also like form them and close them all in 1 month? To me, it feels like it's too quick, but is it not too quick?
yeah. Well, let me ask another question about that, and I'll cover that first. With the people that you're talking to, are most of the people you're talking to people that you have started conversation with, like within the last couple days, or are they people who've reached out to you?
The current people that I'm talking to, almost everyone I reach out to.
Okay. So let's talk about that first, because I know that that came up a couple times in another group too about closing the deal quicker. So the first things first. I always assume interest before I assume disinterest. So rather than defend my invitation throughout the process of the conversation, I'm proactively leading that conversation to the sale because I'm assuming that the person on the other end is interested and not disinterested. So until they say to me, how dare you think of me for this, or no thanks, I hate being healthy or something, unless they give me like some sort of excuse, I'm going to assume that they want or need what I have. That comes from the ultimate conviction that I have for what I offer. Like, I really feel like if someone gets on board with Beachbody On Demand and Shakeology and they join our challenge group, I feel like I'm putting them in an environment with the right tools to succeed. And if they don't succeed, that's sort of on them at that point, right? Like, I've given them the world's best tools. I've given them access to me as a coach. I've given them this group. Like, I'm doing the best that I can for them. So when I have conversations with people, that's the way I approach the conversation. I approach the conversation like, this is the best solution and this is what you get with it. So I'm automatically thinking about how that conversation is going to end and how I'm going to serve that person and give them their solution in order to close the deal. So I'm assuming that they're interested. So what does that look like specifically? So that means that I'm not stalling. I think you alluded to this a little bit. I'm not stalling the process. I'm not asking them too many questions about their personal life. Like, I'm not, we're not on a tangent about their recent trip to Mexico or something like that. Like, I try to dial the conversation into being about either what they do for a living, their family, their current health and nutrition, or what they do to work out. Like, I try to keep it in sort of this small bubble of conversation topics. And when it starts to get out of that, or when I start to feel it drift, I try to dial it back in. That doesn't mean that every single time I have a conversation that ends up in a sale. It doesn't mean that there aren't times where I'm like, forget it, this person's like totally on another planet. Like, that happens too. But the first thing is, you want to try to be the person who's in control of the conversation. You're going to also assume that they are interested. So number 2 with that is, or I guess the thing that kind of goes along with that is, don't stall the process with things that they haven't asked for. So if they haven't asked you, or if they haven't indicated that they're worried about what Shakeology tastes like, don't assume or think that they're worried about it. So I know that Katie, you had brought this up in another conversation about how you offered the person a sample. And my question back to you was, well, did they ask for it? And you were like, no. Like, if they don't ask for it, or if they don't really present that objection of, I'm worried about what it's going to taste like, then you're just assuming that they're going to have an objection to the taste, and therefore you're offering them a sample. So you're almost providing them with their objection. So the best thing to do if you're wanting to know how I handle these conversations, we have a recorded webinar called A Deep Dive into Jenny's Facebook Messenger, and it's on our Body Electric website. And I think I did it, I don't know, like it's relatively recent. It was from this year. And I go through different Facebook Messenger conversations that I have, and I show you how I handle those conversations. But I'm trying to think of a good analogy of sort of how I think about it this way. I feel like if I'm having a conversation, whether the person came to me or I went to the person, if we're having a conversation about health and nutrition and fitness, if that's involved in our conversation, if we're at the point where we're talking about that, maybe for you it's with rock climbing or whatever, I consider that being similar to, this person is now in my storefront. So just like if I owned an ice cream shop, and whether I had to go out on the street and ask people to come in, or the people came in on their own, we're now talking about ice cream. You see what I'm saying? So now I know that, like, we're talking about the thing that I'm good at. We're talking about the thing that I can help them with. And so at that point, I just take it to the next step and say, since we're on this topic of weight loss, or since we're on this topic of wishing you had more energy, I wanted to let you know about what I do in case it ever surfaces in your life that you need something like this, right? Or if you hear of someone else who has a similar need or interest. So as long as the conversation is within that small bubble of topics, as long as we're kind of on the relative, whether we're talking about personal development or nutrition or fitness, I consider that my open invitation to say, would you like a cone of mint chocolate chip, right? Like, would you like me to tell you more about my challenge group? So that's the way I would equate it, is to say, if you're talking about something that feels like an area of your expertise, that's your permission to ask them if they'd ever be interested in your challenge group. Now, remember, for those of you who are newer coaches, I want to make sure that I'm clear. When you are talking to somebody about what you have to offer, at least for me, like what I have to offer just includes Shakeology and Beachbody On Demand. So it's sort of like, oh, and you get this too. So I want people to buy into me, because at the end of the day, that's what they're buying into, is my coaching, my accountability, the environment that I provide, the challenge group that I provide, right? So that's what you're going to be talking about when someone opens the door or they say, yes, tell me more. You're going to be talking about this awesome group of people. You're going to be talking about the environment that you've created and that you're a part of. And then when they ask you for the details, that's when you tell them that it includes Shakeology and Beachbody On Demand, right? Which is an added bonus, because now they're like, I need this girl, right? Like, I need this girl and I need this group, and this is exactly what I need. And oh my gosh, it comes with this too, and I'm going to have access to her because I buy this. Awesome. So the value is presented in a different way versus if you're talking about the product, right? If your conversation and your invitation is about Shakeology, there's more room for objection. If your conversation is about the value that you provide, they can't object that because they haven't seen it yet, right? They haven't seen the value that you provide. So hopefully that's a decent answer for that question. As far as adding people to your network, I can tell you how I've been able to do it. So I don't do any, it's sort of crazy because I've been a coach for 7 years and I haven't run a Facebook ad in over a year. And the ones that I did failed miserably for the most part. I don't do Instagram. I don't do anything else. Like, I'm not on any other social media platform. So I rely pretty heavily on my Facebook network and any referrals through that network. So what I did several years ago was I created these rules for myself. Number one, anytime, like once a week, I would go to that feature that is like friends you may know. And if I had, at one time I told myself, because at first I was kind of weirded out by Facebook. So at one time I told myself, if I have 50 mutual friends with somebody, I'm sending them a Facebook invitation, a friend request, right? And then as time went on, I was like, maybe 20. Like if we have 20 mutual friends, I'm going to send them her. So I do it. Now it's like 5 to 10. If we have 5 to 10 mutual contacts, I'm going to send them a friend request. Most people, like, I don't know, what is your first inclination? If someone sends you a friend request, you click on their page, you click on mutual friends, you see who you have in common. If there's one person you have in common, you know that that one person unfortunately probably just latched onto a scam, right? You're like, oh no, I got to tell so-and-so she shouldn't have accepted that friend request. But if it's 5 or 10 or 15 people, you're like, okay, like I'll probably be okay with this, right? I mean, that's my personal feeling. You might feel differently. So that has led me to a lot of conversations with people, and that's how I met Dawn. I mean, Dawn is a diamond coach on our team, and she reached out to me because of a mutual friend, and I friended her on Facebook, and we only had one mutual friend, but I knew she was a real person and she was interested in what we had to offer. So number one rule is to go through that people you may know tool frequently, every week, and just click the button that says request friend, right? They can say no, and it's okay. But I would do that for whatever you feel comfortable with, whether it's 20 mutual friends, 150, whatever. Number two is I say happy birthday to everybody on their birthday. So Facebook kind of provides you with an awesome conversation tool by telling you whose birthday it is every day. So when it tells you, just take 5 seconds to go in. Sometimes I even write happy birthday and I copy it and then I paste it to the other 7 people's pages whose birthday it is. Or I send them a private message to say, happy birthday, I hope you're having a fantastic day. That's a great way of just getting visibility on your own content on Facebook from those people. And it's a great way for them, especially if you do a private message, it's a great way to sort of start a conversation. I've actually had, I would say probably a handful of people in the last few months who I've sent a happy birthday message to, and I'll include like a memory. So this girl's birthday was yesterday actually, and she and I were good friends in elementary school. And I sent her a Facebook message and said, happy birthday. Remember that time that at your birthday party, your aunt brought you this, I remember this, it was a Barbie experience. Like she had like a whole Barbie experience provided at her birthday. So I sent her a private message about it. And then I was like, anyway, hope you're having a great day. So I just included a little memory. And it was different, right, than just saying happy birthday. And she wrote me back and was like, oh my gosh, this made me laugh so hard. And then we ended up having a whole conversation about it. So just kind of take the extra step in the people that you do connect with, whether it's through happy birthday messages or whatever. And then last but not least, don't ever ignore the referral market that you have access to. I know that Success Club 10 is going to happen for me each month because I know that if I can just help 2 or 3 people, that they can bring aboard 2 or 3 people. They can each bring someone to me as well. So every time someone's interested in something or they want to join my challenge group, I always ask the question, is there someone in your immediate life that would like to maybe do this with you? A spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend or your mom or your sister or your cousin, your neighbor, your coworker. And a lot of times people say, oh, I didn't really think about it. Let me ask or let me see. Or if they don't, they might, because you asked the question and you opened the door, a week or 2 later, they might say, hey, I'm having my neighbor send you a friend request on Facebook. Her name's Mary. She's interested in the challenge group. I have that happen a lot, like a lot. So as long as you're, again, providing that exceptional environment in the challenge group and that awesome experience, you're going to start to get referrals. So those would be like my top 3 tips would be send personal messages, whether it's through happy birthday or whatever. Add people who have mutual friends with you and always ask for referrals. Those are my top 3 ways. Beyond that, what my number 4 is going to be, which is to start an email list. Even if you're a new coach and you're like, that sounds hard, it's not hard. We have a tool out there called MailChimp that allows you to create an email list. It reminds me of like a high school newsletter. It's so easy to put together. But it's a great way to start to give, because sometimes as a new coach, you have to give people value and you have to show them that you're really in this and that you have value to offer in order for them to buy in and to refer others. So 5 years ago, I decided, you know what? Success Club's really hard for me every month, and I got to figure out a way to make this easier. And so the way that I figured it would be easier is if I started to give people my own knowledge, which at that time was just recipes. Like, here's a recipe I tried that I liked. Hope you like it, right? And instead of just sending it to my friends, I decided I'm just going to start a newsletter. And every person that I meet, if they ask me about that recipe I brought to lunch or whatever, like, I'll add them to my email list. And it started with my mom and my aunt and my cousin and my brother. That's the first four people that were on my email list. And from there, my mom forwarded it to her friends because I had a recipe about some grilling recipe that she liked, right? And people start to forward your content around, and people buy in and opt into your email list. So that would be my, sort of my backup option for expanding your network is if you have an email list, be constantly asking for people to join it, and forward it around and share your content that way and your value that way. Is that good? Good answer? Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to pass on a tip I got from somebody. This is the message I kept trying to record. But someone sent me a friend request, and I was like, oh, why'd you send me a friend request? And he said, oh, I'm actually doing this thing. I want to surround myself with better people. So I go into my friends list. And he wasn't like selling anything. He was just doing this for his own personal growth. But he would go into he would look for a friend who he admires. And then he would go into their friends list and look for anyone they had like 20 mutual friends with. And then he would friend all of those people. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I've been doing is like thinking of someone that I really admire, like a strong businesswoman or like a yoga teacher or someone cool. And then I go in and do the same thing like that. But it's like, you already know that person's cool. And then I private message those people and I say, I saw that we had mutual friends with so-and-so and she's cool. So I thought it'd be cool to get to know you too. And then that's a message I send.
Yeah, that's good.
Also, I sing people happy birthday on there.
Nice.
And they love it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to think of anything special to say. I just sing.
That's awesome. You could probably save it in like your voice memos and send it out too. I guess you'd have to have a different name.
Sometimes I add something special.
Yeah. That's cool though. Very cool. Any other questions, you guys?
What are the sales this month? I haven't looked.
They're continuing the 160 Beachbody On Demand challenge pack. And I think the Shift Shop DVD challenge pack is also 160. I would love to know what Beachbody's numbers are on the challenge pack sales. With Beachbody On Demand, they can't be high. But some people want the DVDs, so.
Are they going to be releasing any, like, more detailed information on the UK stuff, or are they going to wait right up until October 21st? And what I mean by that is I'm curious about the pricing structure.
Yeah. Arno, do you follow Arno on Facebook? If you send him a friend request, it's ARNAULD. His last name is Nakaha, NAKAHA. And
is he the one that did the little video clip?
Yeah. And he just did another, like I think they called it like a pre-launch call about the UK too. So I can send you the recording.
I think I've seen that one, but
okay.
Maybe not.
I tagged you in one of them, or I invited you to one of them because I knew you had UK contacts. But he's the main go-to guy, so you could even probably message him and ask him about the pricing structure or whatever. Have you checked the FAQ? Does it say anything there?
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Okay.
And it talks about how, as far as like the commission structure will be the same, like the 25%. I mean, like all of that will be the same, but just because their taxes are different than us, that they haven't released the pricing structure. So I know it'll be different.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it might not be a lot different. I'm just trying to get a gauge for what people are going to be willing to sign up for in the very beginning.
Well, just tell them it's going to be $300, and then when it's less than that, you'll just be like, oh.
There you go. It's a deal.
It's about the value you bring, right? So $300. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, wait, it's only $200. I was just kidding. Yeah.
I think the challenge is going to be more like I've sent like a couple people that I know are interested. I've tried to send them as much as I can about,
Yep.
this, like, how you become an emerald and how you become a diamond and just the structure and little video clips to try to educate them. But I think the challenge will be doing it virtually.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you can just fly over there and sit with them in their living room and, click on this, click on that. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how. I know that there's a lot of coaches. I mean, there are coaches that have a lot of contacts there, whether it's they lived there when their husband was in the military or they were in the military or whatever. So I know there's a handful of coaches that are really latching onto Arno with questions. And so I wouldn't be afraid. I would ask him. I would just reach out and say, I have several contacts in the UK and I'm wondering if you could help me understand the pricing structure, etc. for when business launches there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing that I'll mention to you, hang on one second, Sarah. One thing I haven't mentioned yet for you guys that I meant to mention at the beginning is we are going to have another team mastermind group. So the book that we're covering for that mastermind group, I know this is totally random, but I totally forgot to mention it, is the book Relentless, Tim Grover. And we are going to kick that off at the end of August. I'm waiting to hear from Amy what day works for her to start. So probably the last week or two of August, we will start. It's a 6-week mastermind, and it's all about hustle, grit, self-limiting beliefs, sort of just getting better, right? It's all about that personal development game. So if you're interested in that, we will have the registration forms for that hopefully by the end of this week. So go ahead, Sarah. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine. I just had a quick question. One of my challengers, she lives out in like BFE, and she has the hardest time getting connection to Beachbody On Demand. Mm-hmm. So she's having to go to her library and like download her workout for the week. Mm-hmm. Is there any suggestions on if people have come across connective issues that you could give to them outside of that?
I know. I mean, that's the only thing would be to download them somewhere in advance so that she wouldn't have to worry about that happening. Is she doing like one program in particular, right? Is she doing Shift Shop or?
No, she's been doing PIO. She's starting Shift Shop on Monday.
Gotcha. So like,
okay,
when she's living her own life, like day to day, she just doesn't have good internet access.
Yeah, it's hard. They have their it's shoddy. So she's a stay-at-home, so she can get access sometimes, and other times it doesn't have that high quality. So streaming her workouts, she has a hard time with it not pausing and stopping, so she can get that good quality workout in.
Gotcha. Yeah, the only thing I can think is just to download them in advance. My parents live in a small town right now, and every time we're home, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like Laura Ingalls. Like we can't even get the internet. Like what's happening? It's terrible. But I know that does exist. So I mean, maybe, unfortunately, maybe she could, if there's a program she really likes, she could hop on board with the DVD. Otherwise, she's gonna have to download it in advance and do it that way.
Yeah. She had her sister-in-law have the PIO DVDs, so she ended up getting those after doing it for a few weeks. So she has those on her persons now, and somehow one of her friends had Insanity, so she was doing between PIO and Insanity. This last group that we were in. So
I would say like if she, the nice thing about doing something like a Shift Shop would be that there's only 2 workouts a week. You're just alternating the 2, so she could download 2 for the week and then download the next 2 for the next week, and she wouldn't have to worry about having multiple to worry about. But
okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. Any other last minute questions before we wrap it up? I just wanted to keep tonight casual, answer any questions you have. Sounds like I've got some good ideas for maybe some like training areas for you guys as far as what you'd like to learn more about. If there's something that you are struggling with or that you would like to hear more about, send me a Facebook message and just let me know, hey, I'd love to hear more about XYZ, and I'm happy to expand on that. Because sometimes, like, I can guess what I think everybody needs to hear, but if I know for sure it's what you want to hear, it makes it a lot easier. So feel free to offer suggestions for that. So does anybody have any last minute questions?
I know some of my challengers that like I have really good energy in my little challenge group within Shift Shop. And I think they're interested in staying with Shakeology and doing more exercise, but I'm not sure they want to do round 2. And mostly because of the time commitment, not because of the workout. And so I'm just trying to get them through this one, right? So I haven't really started talking to them about it, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about what each one of them is going through individually and what program would maybe be best for them if they want to continue, but maybe not with round 2. A lot of them, it's a time commitment thing.
Right.
It's less about the program. They actually like the program. They just don't want to commit to 45, 55 minutes.
Yeah.
A day.
One thing that they might want to consider is just trying different workouts from Beachbody On Demand, even if they are not even trying them necessarily, but just like watching them to see what they might like to do.
I mean, I recommended some of them today. Like one gal was really struggling with time. I'm go look at 22 minutes, man, like 22-minute hardcore. And I do that one all the time when I'm just trying to squeeze something in real quick.
Yeah. 25, 22-minute hardcore, 21 days,
right.
30 minutes. Yeah, there's lots of doable stuff. It's just a matter of people knowing what to look for. So
yeah, I'm just trying. I feel like they're gonna still need to be tapped into something though, like another, so if they all do something different, I didn't know.
Yeah.
If I created a Facebook group just for this challenge group, and I guess I could keep it and they just check in with whatever exercise they did for the day. It doesn't necessarily have to be this.
Yep.
But
yeah, I mean, you can leave it so it's not program specific. It could just be workout. I mean, they just log their workout, log their shake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've done that before. Yeah. Cool. Well, okay, you guys, Shift Shop's going to get harder, but that's okay because we do hard things. So, but don't say I didn't tell you. You can't be like, oh my gosh, my coach didn't tell me. Now you know. So, yeah, the time commitment does get tricky with Shift Shop, but let me tell you what though, the way I experienced it was like my personal feeling is it's easy for me to have a time objection if I also don't like the workout. So like, but with Shift Shop, when I started doing those 45-minute workouts and the 50-minute workouts, they were just like, I loved them. Like they challenged, and I'm the type of person that likes a challenge. So when it was something really hard that I enjoyed doing, I was like, I don't even care how long it takes. I just have to make this happen. So hopefully you guys.
I'm the same way. It doesn't bother me, but I think beginners.
Yeah, for sure.
They're struggling.
For sure.
They're struggling.
Yeah, 22-minute hardcore is one of my favorites. It's a good one. Because it's still intense. So.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. This was recorded, so I'll be posting it in the team page tomorrow. Hi, Miss Julie. I see you on here. Your first call. Hi. Yay. So if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know. We will be doing these now every Wednesday night. So plan on tuning in at 9 p.m. Eastern if you can. Otherwise, they're always recorded. I hope you guys have a great kickoff for Team Cup Month in August. I'll talk to you guys soon.